team behind some wildfires area. She was diagnosed with asthma, and for that reason is a permanent resident at the aquarium. But this trick that she does that I mentioned is they actually taught her how to self-medicate with a modified. So what they did was they used tree reinforcement to encourage her to go up, move a little button with her nose. It dispensed the treat and then a dose of her medicine, and she could go on her happy little scouter way. About midway up the skyline there, you're going to see some red umbrellas. And then to the right, there's a mural. This is the general location of Pike Place Market. Who's been to market? Pretty incredible, right? Lots to do there. Gonna be something for everybody. Bookstores, those organic fruit, flying fish, record shops, art, candles, the honey. I mean, you can get lost there for hours. It is not just that street level, it's actually 5 different levels and it's base. So it's one of those things if you have a lot of time to kill and just wander around, you're gonna find some great things over at Pike Place. It's also the oldest running farmers market in Seattle. Now you might have noticed this beautiful cruise ship on the Bliss parked at our Bell Street Cruise Terminal. This was the very first cruise ship terminal built in Seattle that introduced us to the cruise ship industry in 2000. Now the Bliss is great because this little kind of squiggly structure here to the right of the water slide is actually a go-kart track. So if you're looking to get both car sick and seasick at the same time, I'd recommend switching with be there. We noticed some of our waving at us. It's totally acceptable to wave back. However, please keep it to one hand waving, as 2 hands is the international sign stress. We don't need a visit from the Coast Guard today. Another great thing about the list is this is a hand-painted mural of the whales. It's so beautiful. Our cruise ship season is a little bit different than other ports because all of our cruise ships go up to Alaska. As I can tell you, the winter is not the friendliest for Alaska. So our season is from April to October. And despite having a season that's about half as long, we're still the 4th busiest port. Now, this gray-sided building with a bunch of balconies with a giant red key on top is the Edgewater Hotel. The Edgewater was constructed for the 1962 World's Fair, hosted in Seattle. It was projected to 10 million people joined in Seattle. About 9.5 million actually. Does anyone want to take a wild guess as to how many people stayed at the Edgewater during the fair? No guesses. Okay, well, it was a trick question anyway, but the answer is 0. 0 people stayed at the Edgewater during the fair because evidently building a hotel on a pier was a little trickier than they had anticipated. So they ran into major construction delays, and the Edgewater did not open up for business until 2 weeks after the fair ended. Deeply missing the mark for their traffic. This was especially painful considering that fair was 6 months long. Ouch, right? So now they've got this beautiful brand new hotel over the water. They completely missed the boat. I'm sorry. And now they can fill it with guests. So what they started doing was advertising both hotel and fishing and hunting magazines that you could actually fish from your hotel balcony. Open the bait and tackle shop in the lobby. When you showed up for your reservation, you were handed a bucket and a fishing pole and told, "Oh, fish, have some fun." Well, this sounds great in theory, but if you know anything about fishing, it's a pretty messy sport, right? And you typically clean a fish after you've caught the fish. Where is the best place to clean a fish in an upholstered hotel room? Some people say the bathroom. The answer is nowhere. You should not clean a fish in a hotel room. How's They were finding fish in places fish should never be, including closets, in pillowcases. Some people even tried to keep their fish alive in the bathtub with regular water and salt. And science doesn't quite work on that. So those fish did end up going and perishing. Their luck did change though. A couple years later, when the Beatles were photographed fishing from their and featured in my friends. We're now passing the year 70, the location for a popular reality TV show called Real World. And we're coming up on the closest most unobstructed view of the Space Needle. So please don't forget to your seat. Go and get that one-shot photo of the Space Needle. It's so funny. Below the Space Needle, there's kind of this orangish red structure. This is a sculpture art, Olympic sculpture art. And that sculpture in particular is called the Eagle. From a certain perspective, it looks like an abstract eagle to flight. This is done by Alexander Calder, known for his profiles. Olympic Sculpture Park is home to permanent as well as temporary art installations. They open 30 minutes before sunrise, close 30 minutes after sunset. I don't want to go there. See a long strip of grass on the starboard side here and some front openings. This is Myrtle Edwards Park. Myrtle Edwards was a city councilwoman in the 50s and 60s, known for her dedication to preserving Seattle's space. So thanks to Myrtle Edwards, we are no farther than a 10-minute walk from any park or green space. Now, you might notice, even though we have some beachfront openings, there's not a lot of swimming happening, even on a nice day like today. And that's because average temperature for the waters here in Elliott Bay are 56 degrees. So not super ideal for that leisurely swim, but maybe could be good for people ice bath. Now, this building with the glass front beige trim and giant globe on top is the Seattle Post Intelligencer. Globe says the PI, standing for Post Intelligencer. It was Seattle's first major news outlet in the 1800s, when Seattle was no more than a sawmill and some things. In 2009, they became the first major news outlet to go completely online. So they do not inhabit their building anymore. It is the city's hope to restore the globe. It actually did use to light up and because it's such an iconic landmark, it is hoped to relocate it somewhere someday. Now we're gonna see the landscape increase in height over here on the starboard side. And then there are 3 towers on the top of that hill. This is Queen Anne's Hill. Queen Anne's Hill was slower to develop than a lot of the surrounding areas because of its landscape. It wasn't super ideal for those farmers and settlers with for flat land. It was jokingly referred to as Queen Anne's Town due to the style of architecture that was popular at the time, a revival of the road. And then the name kind of stuck after that. Queen Anne Hill is also home to 2 very famous doctors. First of which would be
I can take that for you. Anything else I can grab for you? Pilsner? Yeah, charge you when I get back with that.
So his high-rise building was set to be on Ants Hill. It is not an actual building that exists. It was filmed on a soundstage in Los Angeles, superimposed on the screen. Like the references counterbalances his place of residence, and that is still. Then where are my Grey's Anatomy fans? Yeah, the house that was largely featured in the first few seasons of no house like where all the insurance comes out, you know. However, today it is a private residence, so please don't go off the front door. Dr. Meredith Drake will not be there to say hello to you. Stop. I've got these highly scenic water here, and these are our speaker lands. So we try to contribute to the support of the local salmon population. So basically, what this is kindergarten for salmon. They're little, the water is big, they're scary predators. So they come here to grow a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger before they are released to a big ocean. I've got a very industrial structure and a wolf burger ship. This is exciting because we actually get to see the process right now. This could be our grain. So what they are doing is they are loading grain into the wolf. This is how
I'll be right back with the camera.
walk to the state exposed to real vehicle and has Mexicans and train cars lined up against the shore. So it's railed in and stored here in grain silos, goes up this conveyor belt and down the gravity chutes. And we can see now it going straight into the hull of the boat. And I actually don't remember ever seeing them in action. So this is pretty cool for me. See the dust that it's taking up a bit. Now what's each this the brain is under no circumstances neglect or it will begin to ferment and go bad. So Seattle has very big reputation for being a rainy city, right? So you might think, why Seattle as a place to get something that can't get wet? Well, we are geographically closer to all of our partners, even further to the Pacific than anywhere else along the United States western coast. So
There goes. Couple questions here. I'll do it again. The shield is where.
It still makes up for the time and cost otherwise associated with cities.
Thank you. Would you like our seat?
Can I get a Michelob Ultra, please?
We don't have a Michelob Ultra. I can give you similar lighter beer.
What do you have?
I would recommend either the Blonde Ale or in the can we have Rainier.
Whereas off on
Okay, I'll leave it to you.
the side of that
Take it.
area, there's a lot of bread.
Can I take a quick peek at your ID, please?
Yeah.